So I want to thank you all for being here, and I want to thank our friends at Northrop Grumman for co-sponsoring the opening ceremony tonight. Northrop, this has kind of become a tradition for them to do this, and we really appreciate it. We appreciate the support here, Jeff Grant, who I'm going to introduce in a few minutes, is on our board of directors and works really hard to support us, and Northrop really partners with us throughout the year on our STEM education programs, and I'm going to let the cat out of the bag here and ask you to give them a big round of applause, because about 2 weeks ago, they called to let us know that they are doubling their support for STEM education. Now, there are a lot of famous and important people in the room, and I'm not going to introduce them all because it would take too long, and you all know each other and you all know who you are. Some of them, like General Hyten up here in front, if you're 8 feet tall and wearing a blue uniform, you're kind of hard to miss. Thanks, sir, for being here. Some of them may not be so readily apparent. One of the really cool things we're able to do this week is tomorrow we have a panel discussion with the heads of space agencies. We have the heads of 13 space agencies from around the world with us. Would you folks stand up and let us thank you for coming? And I know I said I wasn't going to go down this path, but I have to because he's my hero. And not only does he show up for events like this, but he shows up for things like Yuri's Night, and he is always there when we need him, and he's always there when all of us need him. Would you please join me in thanking for his service, Dr. Buzz Aldrin. I am very blessed to have a tremendous board of directors. We had a meeting yesterday. Was it just yesterday? And Congressman Jim Bridenstine was there to talk to us. He walked in the room and he looked around and he kind of just said, wow, couldn't you get somebody important to serve on this board? Holy cow. Would my board of directors please stand and let us thank you for your service? And as you know, education is very, very important to us. Once again, we have inducted a new class of teacher liaisons in the Space Foundation. These are our super teachers who work hard with us all year round in special training, special education development, take our curriculum into their classroom. We have 80 of them with us, including our 9 newest teacher liaisons from India. Would you folks please stand up so we can thank you for the work you do? So last night we did a little something different this year. We invited our friends to come join us on a Sunday evening, of all things, at the Space Foundation Discovery Center for Yuri's Night. And we had a full house of almost 500 people come out on a Sunday night to hear from astronauts, to visit with Buzz, to just celebrate the fact that we're all in this wonderful business. So I think that was probably a success for everybody who came, and we'll take a look at doing that again next year. We'll see how the calendar plays out. But that was just fabulous. It was a great opportunity to have people come down and see where we live and see what we do at the Discovery Center. This year's symposium, I don't know if you can feel it in the air, but I mean, it is, I sense there's such an upbeat vibe going on. And it's not just the weather, it's you guys being here. There's a lot of great stuff going on in the industry, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. This year's symposium, we are happy to welcome nearly 1,200 different organizations from 40 different countries. And over the course of this week, we will have more than 10,000 people come through the Broadmoor to the 31st Space Symposium. So thank you so much. Now, speaking of support, we are very blessed in Colorado to have a state administration that is so supportive of the space sector. We have a great group called the Colorado Space Coalition, which is a group of companies that works together to advance space in the state, for the state. We have a great state space advocate, Major General Jay Lindell, retired, who's here this evening. You haven't met him, say hello. And it's all led by, I think, one of the better governors in the country, certainly one of the best governors when it comes to space issues. He's been here almost every year since he's been elected. In fact, he started coming down to see us before he got elected. He gets it, he supports us, and we're so glad to have him here to welcome you. Would you please welcome Governor John Hickelman.
Thank you, Elliot. Thanks for all your hard work to make this the incredible event that it is. I'm going to take a few minutes here to recognize some of the folks and to give it just kind of an overview from the state's point of view. I want to recognize Lon Levin, who's the chair of the Space Foundation, who's here, as well as all that board. Charles Bolden is here, who's the NASA administrator in charge. General John Hyten is over here to my left. Somewhere, I didn't see where he got to, but Mark Sarangelo, who runs Sierra Nevada Space Systems, but he's also the Chief Innovation Officer for the state of Colorado. Before you get too concerned, it pays $1. But I will say that on weekends and evenings, he is trying to add value and expand innovation across the state. And Major General Jay Lindell, who Elliot already mentioned, is someone who's single purpose. He works for the state's Office of Economic Development, and his job is to orchestrate everything that the state can do, and not just in Colorado, but to support the expansion of aerospace and to make sure that this country and really the world is doing everything it can. We recognize that having this event here is a really exciting thing, not just for Colorado Springs, but for Colorado as a state. We want to give you all the biggest welcome. As Elliot said, I've ordered in the best weather that we can possibly have, with the exception maybe of Wednesday night, we'll see. A little concerned about that. But Colorado's been a leader in aerospace for many, many years, and there are an awful lot of people in this room that have helped create that environment. They've worked very hard, and that hard work has paid off. Colorado now employs more private aerospace workers per capita than any other state in America. If you just look at the nominal numbers, not even per capita, we're third in the country. We have well over 400 space-related companies in Colorado of all sizes. 55% of those companies employ, more than 10 people. They're not just small startups. We're also home as a state to some of the best research institutions on the planet or in space. We have 30 federal research laboratories in the state of Colorado. We have the Air Force Academy here in Colorado Springs, which has really become a leading researcher and beginning to get seriously into aerospace. We have the University of Colorado Boulder, in the Laboratory of Atmospheric and Space Physics, involved in many key NASA projects such as the MAVEN probe, studying the Martian atmosphere. CU Boulder receives more NASA funding than any other public university. And part of my job is to make sure that investment really leads to opportunities for entrepreneurs and for established businesses. We're focused constantly on trying to how to accelerate that time between a good idea and the opportunity when it actually becomes a job. Part of the success at CU and really I think for aerospace is somehow in the last 10 years, and just for the record, long before any legalization of marijuana, if that's going through the back of your mind, but we have become the #1 magnet in the country for what we call millennials, those kids that are, age 25 to 34-year-olds. And if you go back over the last 6 or 8 years, it's either Washington, D.C. or Denver, Colorado, or Colorado Springs or Fort Collins. But that whole Fort Collins, Boulder, Denver, Colorado Springs corridor has really become a magnet for young people, and many of them are very highly educated, and many of them are entrepreneurs. There was a study a year and a half ago that described on a per capita basis the #1 of the 150 largest communities in the United States. For the top 10 in terms of startups per capita, in terms of technology are in Colorado. And Colorado Springs was, I believe, 8th on that list. So we have the results of this collaboration we've been doing with the aerospace industry. It really does create a dynamic sense of innovation in the state, encourages this symposium. Every August we have what we call COIN, the Colorado Innovation Network Summit. And we bring in leaders from not just the United States, but from all over the world, large companies and small startups, to really spend 2 days talking about how do you accelerate innovation, how do you make sure the innovation you're doing grows into something that matters. We like to think we have the most creative thinkers. I know that some of you from other states would argue. But we're trying to work on some of the biggest questions that people can ask. And I want to finish up with a quote by Carl Sagan, when he said, "The cosmos is all that is, or ever was, or ever will be. Our feeblest contemplations of the cosmos stir us. There is a tingling in the spine, a catch in the voice, a faint sensation as if a distant memory of falling from a height. We know we are approaching the greatest of mysteries." I want to thank all of you for your continuing effort in promoting this journey. It is this wonderfully noble endeavor of unraveling those deepest mysteries. And speaking of deepest mysteries, there was an announcement earlier, but I get to echo it to all of you. We're excited to announce that the United Launch Alliance has unveiled, after much delay, planned delay, they were just trying to get us hooked, as it were, and they succeeded, at least in my office, but they unveiled the name of the logo and design of their innovative next generation rocket. It represents, I think, the future of space launch going forward. It's focused on innovation, but also on quality and affordability and reliability. United Launch Alliance went out. You know, ULA doesn't do anything halfway. They were going to ask some leaders in Colorado Springs, but then they thought maybe more Metro Denver, the Front Range, and then really the state of, then they figured the whole country. And to vote on the name of this new rocket. So 1 million votes later, the new rocket will be named Vulcan. I think this exciting, cutting-edge launch vehicle is going to be designed by rocket scientists from all over the country, but especially in Colorado. We want to give congratulations to ULA. We've all been waiting for the announcement so that we can look forward to the first launch of a Vulcan. I have a hat here that I will hold up and give the time-offered Vulcan answer. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you very much, Governor. Really appreciate you being here with us again. This has been just a spectacular 11 months. It's been sort of dizzying. Usually we've got 12 months. Actually, we start kind of 18 months out planning these things. But it's been a really great 11 months in our business, and I think that probably accounts for a lot of the positive energy in the room and the uptick in participation this year and so on. Yeah, we had a couple of not great moments. I think everybody expects that in this business. We had the Antares accident, as you know, and the Virgin Galactic flight test accident, as you know. But I think one of the things that was spectacular about those two incidents is the way that they were handled and the way people responded positively rather than wringing their hands and trying to bring a screaming halt to exploration. Everybody said, well, we get it. It's a risky business. Let's get on with it. So my thanks go out to the Orbital ATK folks as well as our friends at Virgin Galactic for the way they handled that. Other than that, it has really been a spectacular year. As you will see here shortly as we pass out our awards, our award winners represent some of the most exciting stuff that's gone on in our business in many years. So I'm really happy to have them all here with us this evening. The industry itself has grown in the past year. Some of you will remember last year when we looked back at the 2013 numbers, $314 billion industry worldwide in 2013, $330 billion in 2014. So kudos to you guys. Give yourselves a hand. We are doing swell. We had 92 launches last year. 92, of which 90 were successful. That's pretty spectacular in itself. And as incredible as that sounds, this year we will be launching even more. When you look at the launch rates just at the Eastern Range, it's breathtaking. So there's some really neat stuff going on. We down-selected our commercial crew providers this year. There was an ESA ministerial, for those of you that keep track of our friends in Europe, where some really important decisions were made, including the decision that our friend Jan Werner from DLR is going to be the next ESA Director General. So Jan, congratulations to you. And of course, recently launched a crew of 2 for a 1-year endurance mission on the International Space Station. That's getting a lot of attention. And of course, as the Governor mentioned, the great announcement today out of our friends at United Launch Alliance. I can't help but think that our friend Leonard Nimoy, who was here about 5 years ago, would have been very pleased by that. So thanks to you guys. And for those of you that are mindful that ULA is not the only launch company, SpaceX has got some really cool stuff that they've got sitting on the launch pad, and they were all good to go except for the weather today. If they were in Colorado, they could have launched that puppy. But we'll keep our eyes on them tomorrow. Hopefully the weather will improve. In addition, the past year has been a remarkable journey in terms of STEM education programs at the Space Foundation. I'm going to show a few pictures of what we've got going on. For those of you who have not been to the Space Foundation Discovery Center, I'd invite you to come down anytime to see us. This is a journey we began about 2 years ago, and in our first 2 years of operating the Discovery Center, we have seen 50,000 visitors, most of them school children. That is a remarkable accomplishment in being able to put that many people through this facility in such a short period of time. The facility is ultimately designed to do 40,000 people a year. We are at 25,000 a year, about 4 years ahead of plan. And that is due to the remarkable support of companies like Northrop Grumman that kicked us off, as some of you will remember, with the Northrop Grumman Science Center funding. Recently, Lockheed Martin stepped up and is funding something called the Lockheed Martin Space Education Center. Many of you as individuals have stepped up and helped us on this mission. We cannot have a bad day at the Space Foundation anymore, because the minute you start to even get a little frowny, one of these big yellow school buses will come up and the kids will all come piling in, and we can hear that all throughout the building, and it's just not even possible to have a bad day. And that's where the money really, the rubber meets the road for us. This event is a fantastic, phenomenal event, and we wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. We love you all. We love the fact that you come to our event. It helps us to pay on a year-round basis for our real mission, which is working on the future of this industry by working with the kids. So with that, I just want to point out that there's this lovely little brochure on your seats, and if you unfold it and look at it, you'll find that there is a business reply envelope in there. And if you feel so moved to take out your checkbook tonight or any other time and put something in the mail to us, we'd really appreciate it. This is a labor of love and it requires a lot of people to make it happen. So thank you very much for allowing me to put in a little commercial for what we're doing in STEM education. We're very proud of it. All right, so now on to our awards. And we have, as I mentioned, some really stellar award winners tonight. The first award we're going to present is the Alan Shepard Technology and Education Award. And so I'd like to invite our friends from the Astronauts Memorial Foundation, Senator Thad Altman, and Laura Shepard Churchley up for the presentation.
Well, it's an incredible opportunity every year to give the Alan Shepard in Education Award. Tonight we have a very special recipient, and I'll save that for Laura Shepard Churchley to introduce. But you know, we're there to remember those astronauts who've paid the greatest sacrifice, and to also support those families who've lost the most precious thing you can lose is your loved ones, your family members. And tonight's recipient endured this horrific challenge to do some wonderful things for space education. The Astronaut Memorial Foundation itself was born out of the Challenger disaster that so many of us witnessed when we lost astronauts for the first time in America's history during a space flight. I'd like to introduce Laura Shepard Churchley, whose father we've named the award after, first American in space and also a moonwalker, who was such a great inspiration to so many young Americans. Laura.
I'm so glad you're here. I voted for freedom. Freedom 7, you know, 1961, Daddy's capsule. Method to my madness. I have a little story to tell you about Alan Shepard's family when Daddy went to the moon. This was in December of 1971, and it was like a 9-day event, and our family was all in Houston at the house, and my grandparents were there, my father's parents were there. And it was, you know, every morning we'd have to get up early to drive down to NASA to watch mission control, to watch what was going on. They didn't have the internet back then, so we couldn't really talk to Daddy while he was up there. So finally, he's just about ready to get off the moon, climb into the lunar module and come back home. And I'm sitting up in bed, it's 2 in the morning, and I kind of nodded off. I was watching what was on television, and all of a sudden I'm being poked and jabbed, and it's Granddaddy Shep, and he's, "Laura, wake up! Your daddy's hitting a golf ball on the moon." I truly thought he'd lost it. I mean, Daddy didn't tell us what he was going to be doing on the moon. So it was quite a shock when my grandfather told me. I thought you might enjoy that tidbit. June, I'm sorry that Daddy is not here to give this award to you, but the Shepard family is very proud of you, all of your accomplishments. You have had a challenge over a challenge over a challenger. We're very proud of you. June Scobie Rogers is our recipient for the year 2015 of the Alan Shepard Technology in Education Award. Please come forward.
He's a fly in space, and one of only 12 humans who have walked on the moon. He was also an early director of the Astronauts Memorial Foundation. In his memory, the Space Foundation, NASA, and the Astronauts Memorial Foundation created the Alan Shepard Technology in Education Award, which is presented annually to a pre-K through 12 or district-level educator. The Shepard Award recognizes excellence in the development and application of technology in the classroom, or to the professional development of teachers. The 2015 Alan Shepard Technology and Education Award is presented to June Scobie Rogers for her lifetime commitment to educating students of every age in the aerospace curriculum. Rogers, the widow of fallen Challenger astronaut Francis Dick Scobie, is the founding chairman of the Challenger Center for Space Science Education. Over 500,000 students participate annually at the nearly 50 Challenger Learning Centers around the world. In addition to heading the Challenger Center, June Scobie Rogers is a published author, has appeared on numerous TV programs, and served on the President's National Advisory Council on Education. In recognition of her commitment to inspiring students' interest in science, technology, engineering, and math, and for promoting innovative educational partnerships, the Space Foundation congratulates June Scobie Rogers, winner of the 2015 Alan Shepard Technology and Education Award.
Thank you all very much. Thank you to my fan club up here that led the ovation. Thank you so much. Thank you, Laura. That was marvelous. Thank you, Thad, for being here. And certainly, Elliot. Along with me today, I want to let you know that my husband, Don Rogers, General Rogers, is here. My daughter, Kathy Scobie-Fulgham, and her husband, Scott, best friends from Chattanooga, the Spiegels, Judy and Kevin. Daniela has come all the way from Italy to be here today. Our board of directors, I want to thank, under the direction of Gwen Griffin and Kent Rominger, and all that board of directors that are here today, all my family and friends that are here, thank you. And thank you out there. Thank you all so much. And this is a great honor. I accept this award, Laura, with great gratitude. I accept it on behalf of the other Challenger families who joined me in remembering our beloved Challenger crew to continue their education mission. And that's how it all began, nearly 30 years ago. And I accept it on behalf of the Challenger Center team who launch excitement in learning with 500,000 students a year, millions of students who've had that opportunity. On behalf of that Challenger Center team, thank you so much. That's why we're receiving this award, because you make me look smart. Thank you. I have my book, Silver Linings, that I want to present to Laura, because in it I tell about my youth prior to and along with the Challenger story. But as a child, growing up in the Sputnik and Mercury era, I was inspired to study the sciences that much more. And through that love of learning, and admiration of Yuri and Alan Shepard and so forth, I wanted to share what I had learned, and therefore wanted to be a teacher, and was able to eventually teach every grade level from kindergarten through graduate level at universities. It's a tremendous honor to accept this award in the name, with the name Alan Shepard on it, for that reason, but also because of my passion to advance space exploration. So that combination is a part of the reason that this is one of the most tremendous awards I've ever received. So thank you, but I want, to our friends around the world, I also want to say danke, and merci, and spasiba, and kamsahamnida. We have a Challenger Center in South Korea. Muchas gracias, gracias mille. And of course, because Mr. Spock was one of Challenger Center's best friends, and we've already spoken of that tonight, in his memory and in his honor, I want to say to all of those others whose languages I didn't mention in thank yous, live long and prosper.
Thank you and congratulations. For our next 3 awards, I'd like to ask the chairman of the board of the Space Foundation to join me on the stage for the presentation of the trophies. Lon Levin. So the next award is the Douglas S. Morrow Award for Public Outreach. And we have such a spectacular winner this evening. for a public outreach effort that went along with a spectacular mission. Here to receive the award from the NASA Industry EFT1 Public Outreach Team, Roosevelt Johnson, Barbara Zelon, Linda Singleton, and Allison Rakes.
Organization that has made significant contributions to public awareness of and support for space programs. Doug Morrow was an Academy Award-winning writer and producer, space advocate, and early member of the board of directors of the Space Foundation. The Space Foundation selected the NASA and Industry EFT1 team as the recipient of the 2015 Douglas S. Morrow Public Outreach Award, for once again bolstering the public's appreciation for human space exploration. Exploration Flight Test 1 was an uncrewed scientific research flight of the new Orion capsule. After years of development, the Orion test vehicle launched atop a Delta IV Heavy rocket from Cape Canaveral and orbited the Earth twice, reaching an altitude of 3,600 miles before splashing down safely during a pinpoint landing in the Pacific Ocean. The public communications effort was wildly successful on a global scale in television, print, and social media. This outreach resulted in a staggering 7,700 print and online original stories, 12,800 television and radio stories, over 1 million total online news articles, and more than 5.1 billion social media impressions. By extending its efforts beyond traditional media and press releases, the team was able to harness the power of social media networks to reach a worldwide audience who may have otherwise not had an opportunity to learn about the test flight. For its accomplishments in rekindling the public's appreciation of human spaceflight, exploration, and education, we congratulate this year's Douglas S. Morrow Public Outreach Award winner, the NASA and Industry EFT1 team.
Exciting. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of all of my colleagues, I'd like to thank the Space Foundation and the Board of Directors for this very prestigious award. An extraordinary effort was made by the Orion NASA Lockheed Martin industry team, and all of that effort culminated the day of launch and landing. But there was a lot of work, of course, leading up to that. The images captured from the spacecraft, the iconic drone, and the USS Anchorage gave everyone the opportunity to fly along with us. As the film said, there was over 7,000 original print and online stories, 1 million online news posts, and 5 billion social media impressions. With the help of the JPL team, we signed up nearly 1.5 million names that flew on Orion, and that included the Exploration Design Challenge students that were virtual astronauts. I want to especially thank the Orion spacecraft communications team that worked tirelessly for years leading up to the flight test. We all were thrilled with the response from the American public. It was amazing. And we also know that EFT1 is just the beginning of an incredible, exciting journey to destinations, to places we've never seen before. In a few short years, Orion will launch atop the Space Launch System, and we're already working on communications for that, and we cannot wait. So thank you very much again for this honor. Good night.
Congratulations again. What a tremendous, tremendous mission on a tremendous effort. Our next award is the Space Achievement Award, which goes to individuals, teams, companies, other organizations who are singled out for landmark space achievement that advances the state-of-the-art in space technology, space exploration, space development. You'll get the whole rundown from the video. But we are really thrilled to be able to present this year's award to a program that we can't talk much about, but we love it anyway. And this is the Boeing and Air Force X-37B team represented by General John Hyten, Commander of Air Force Space Command, and Craig Kooning, President of Boeing Network and Space Systems.
The Space Foundation's Space Achievement Award is presented annually to individuals or organizations to recognize extraordinary contributions toward advancing the exploration, development, or utilization of space. For significantly pushing the state-of-the-art for reusable spacecraft and on-orbit operations, the 2015 Space Achievement Award is presented to the U.S. Air Force and Boeing X-37B Orbital Test Vehicle Team. The X-37B Orbital Test Vehicle, or OTV, is an uncrewed reusable robotic spaceplane, similar in design to the Space Shuttle. The experimental vehicle has circled the Earth for an aggregate total of 1,367 days over the course of 3 missions. Its most recent mission launched in December of 2012 and landed at Vandenberg Air Force Base in October of last year. Boeing's design has aided the U.S. Air Force's investigation into risk reduction, space experimentation, and concept of operations development. The Space Foundation is proud to congratulate the extraordinary research and development of the U.S. Air Force and Boeing X-37B Orbital Test Vehicle Team, recipient of the 2015 Space Achievement Award.
Since I can't say very much. But I can say that the X-37B is truly a remarkable capability. It does really cool things. So on behalf of the men and women of the Boeing Corporation who built this incredible capability, on behalf of the men and women of the United States Air Force and the men and women who operate this capability, some of whom are known, some of whom are unknown, I'd like to thank the Space Foundation. We'd like to thank the Space Foundation for this truly prestigious honor. Thank you very much.